Hey guys and girls, hope you're all well and good, staying safe and stuff like that. I just thought I would do a wee quick video on something I get asked about a lot, probably more than anything else, and that's brushes. Brushes that I use for valeting, cleaning, detailing, whatever you want to call it. Now, as you can see behind me, we use loads of different brushes, and this is just some of them. This is the ones that I use most of the time. And we've got a sort of wee selection in here as well. So people ask me for different things. What's the best brush for wheels, or what's the best brush for doing your vents, or what's the best brush for doing your seats? Well, the answer to that is I don't actually know what's best for this and what's the best brush and the ultimate brush for that. All I can tell you is what works for me. So we'll do it in the order I kind of wash a car, really, I suppose. The first thing I tend to do is engines. So if you're doing a big wash in your car, start with the dirty stuff first. Engines, wheels. I tend to work for the outside in. Some people like to work for the outside, the inside out, but I prefer to start on the outside and work in. And the reason I do that is because the door edges and things like that tend to be filthy on cars, especially ones that haven't been cleaned in a long time. So if you're climbing over that door sill, you're dragging the muck in with you on your legs or your trousers or whatever, and then you're getting into the customer's car, which I don't think is good. So it's best to give the car a wash, give the door sills and things a jet out at the same time, and then you're climbing over, not dragging any muck in with you at the same time. So if you're doing your engine bay and things like that, you're going to be using detailing brushes as they're known. Now for engine bays, I use my old sort of detailing brushes, or cheaper ones really. Your detailing brushes, generally I'll buy them, and then as time goes on they start to wear out and they kind of start to lose hairs, or they end up getting a bit sort of raggedy looking. I don't know if you can see that there. And rather than throw them away, you keep them for things like engines, in the door edges, dirty work generally. See things that where they're going to get greasy and stuff. I mean, you don't want to be using the same brushes on your engine bay that you use on your interior, do you? So that's why you keep them separate. Keep your dirty work brushes in a sort of dirty work brush tub, and you won't get them mixed up. And that way, if there is any grease or oil or anything like that gets onto them, you're not getting it on the car interior. Very important, that one. So one of the brushes that I use on the arches is this, and I just call it a big long brush. And the reason I call it a big long brush is because it's big and it's long. I use this for in the wheel arches. You can get right good access, you know, like right in up there, and especially on 4x4s and stuff like that, they tend to get pretty mucky. You can get right in. You can get under the sills as well with this one quite easily if you want to just put a jack under it or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's just a brush really, isn't it? So, but it is a good brush. Wheels, depending on the sort of design of the wheel, vary. So some wheels have got big, giant, open spokes. Some wheels have got lots of little spokes, and some wheels have got really, really annoying, really thin spokes, which are just annoying. Now the ones with the really thin spokes, you want to be using something like this. I don't actually know what kind of brush this one is, but I've had it a long time. I forget, there used to be a manufacturer's name on it. I think it might be an easy detail brush, although I'm not 100% on that. But it is a good quality brush. This one's probably 3 or 4 years old. It's still solid. The difference in the cheap brushes, like this one's a cheap brush, and the expensive brushes is the way the brush is made. The bristles are wrapped around a piece of wire. Now the wire, or it's like a coiled steel spring or something like that. There'll be a technical name for it, I don't know it, but it's like a bit of wire. Now, think coat hanger material, same thing. Right, so on the good ones, the wire is really quite thick and sturdy, and also if you bend it, it'll sort of spring back. On the cheap ones, They're just thin and crap, and they've got no spring in them whatsoever. This is a cheap brush. It actually came in a car that I bought. It was in the boot. So I'll get. You're lucky with these cheap brushes if they last a couple of months, really, because they just the material, even the metal that the wires made out of is rubbish, and it just corrodes really fast. They're just crap. But I'll wear it out and then I'll throw it away. But I wouldn't bother buying cheap brushes like that. Spend the extra, spend the tenner and buy a good brush, because it will last you years and years and years. The easy detail brushes, now these are great on like big 5 spokes and things like that, but what these are particularly good at, because they've got such a long bristle, you can actually clean right in behind the sort of spokes almost with them and give them a right good scrub. They're also very long in size, so you get right in with them. And this one here, this is a good sort of versatile brush, really, this one. I'm not sure what they call this, if it's the medium brush, easy detail brush, whatever, but it's got a really strong shaft on it. Do you see that? Big thick shaft. And it's absolutely fantastic for doing things like big 5 spokes on 4x4s and stuff like that. That's the one I go to. I think this one's about £15. This one's about £25, £20. Don't waste your money on cheap wheel brushes, buy good wheel brushes. I'll answer this phone. Hello, Shane. So, anyway, after that, don't waste your money on cheap brushes, wheel brushes. Especially the thing with wheel brushes is the chemicals used to clean wheels, harsh fallout removers, wheel acids, strong detergents, the things that you need to get the sort of grime off of wheels, it really does attack the makeup of the brush. So the better a brush you buy, the longer it will last. And also the kinder it will be to your wheels, because some of the cheaper ones are really quite aggressive and you don't really want to be scratching the surface of your wheels if you can avoid it. What's next up then? I'll just put these ones back so they're not in the way. Get up there, you. Oh. Right. Vicaan brushes. Vicaan is a company, they do a range of brushes. They've got brushes for everything. This is one that you use for just a general purpose brush, really, but you need a general purpose brush, especially if you're doing things like in the back of vans and stuff like that. You can use the little cheap ones you would buy in your sort of pound store or whatever, but as I say, it's like the same as they don't last. I've had this brush, probably had this brush 12 years now, and I don't think it's lost a single strand. But it's ideal for doing things like in the backs of vans, in sort of dirtier areas, under the sills you could even use that for. It's just a good brush. This is another Vicaan brush here. Now I use this one, this is quite a sort of soft bristle, this one. And I use it mainly for convertible roofs. So when you're doing a convertible roof, you'll generally spray on your convertible roof sort of cleaner, your cabriolet cleaner, and you'll agitate it with this gently. Now because it's fabric, you don't want anything too aggressive or too harsh. So this is nice. It's softer than your average sort of nail brush, really. So it is pretty soft. You could also use this on leather, really. It is soft enough to use on leather if you've got, maybe you've got a bus or something to do and it's got leather seats. Do that if you're doing larger areas. On to leather seats next. And this is a brush from a company called Colour Lock. Just a good wee brush actually. It's pretty soft. It's not quite as soft as the Vicaan brush actually, but it's great for doing leather. The thing with leather is you need to be able to get in to the sort of the cracks and the seams in the leather, so you can open it up and just sort of agitate it in. This is the brush I use, Colour Lock. There's loads of brushes out there, like I said, but this is the one I use, and it's really pretty good. If you're using a leather cleaner, especially like the one for Leather Repair Company, It works, it's great with that, it works brilliant with it. Now, next up, my favourite brushes, and one of the cheapest ones you could buy. This is, well, it's sometimes called a bottle brush or a tile grout brush. It's the kind of brush you would use for cleaning, if your walls were tiled or your floor was tiled and you've got your grout, you would use this for cleaning in there. That's what it's actually designed for, I think. However, I use it for cleaning carpets, mats, anything up behind pedals. It's ideal for, do you know that if you've got your seat and then your handbrake, centre console area, you can reach right down there if you've got stuff stuck down there, crumbs, etc, etc. Fantastic for that. Now the best thing about these brushes is they're £1 each, £1, and you can buy them from, well, sort of any really sort of DIY shop really, but I actually buy these ones for the supermarket. Asda, I think, as these ones come from. You don't need to spend a fortune on brushes. A brush is a brush, so long as it works. I've got 3 of them there, I pick them up. They're that cheap, I just pick them up as they go, because they get lost quite easily as well. Next up, brushes that I use on the vacuum. Now this one here, it's actually due for replacement, this one. This is a sort of just a normal vacuum brush, I suppose. You get these ones with the vacuum cleaner. This one comes with a Henry, but if you've ever bought a vacuum cleaner, you'll get a brush with it, as you'll see. It's soft, it's ideal for doing things like dashboards. If you've got a car that comes in, it's got a really dusty dashboard, plastic areas up the sides of the doors. It's just dusty really rather than dirty. You want one of these, because if you were to just go straight on with a vacuum cleaner, obviously it would scratch. Now you can see this one obviously gets used a lot because it's been flattened, but it doesn't make it any less effective really, and it picks up the dust off the plastics without scratching. This one here, bit stiffer, ideal for brushing mats and things like that. You can take that off if you want, and if you want to use a big vacuum, a bigger area, but I only really use this for the brush part. If you're doing, as I say, you're doing mats and things, you need a wee bit of agitation with your vacuum and something like that, but it's only really good on sort of bigger areas. What's next? Drill brushes. We do get asked about these a lot because we tend to use them a lot in the videos, don't we? Now this is like a 4-inch brush or something like that, 3-inch, 3.5-inch, something like that. This is the one I use most on the drill brush, on the drill. It's ideal for carpets, fabrics, seats, anything like that. They're really cheap, these drill brushes as well. I think they're like £10 or £15 delivered, and it took me a while to get into them actually, I've got to admit. I didn't like the idea at first. I thought it would have been too harsh, but once they've been used a few times, the brushes, it's really not that harsh, and it's no worse than using a scrubbing brush on your seats really. The only thing about them is if you're using them with a drill, you can't really get into the edges as good as if you were doing it by hand. But apart from that, I don't really see a downside, and definitely worth having. This one here, shaped like a toilet roll brush, a loo brush, a toilet brush, whatever you want to see it. It's got the end on it. The only thing I really use that for is cleaning exhaust pipes. Put a little bit of Autosol or whatever metal polish you've got on that, put it in your exhaust pipes and give your pipe a good polish. Cleans it up, fantastic, ideal if you've got a dirty pipe. Right, now on to your sort of normal, sort of what you would normally sort of call detailing brushes. This is what people think of when you say detailing brushes. You've got these ones here, so they've got different sizes, generally in millimetres or whatever, 30mm, 40mm, whatever. These ones, you can buy likes of these ones here. You buy these cheap ones on Amazon or eBay or whatever, you get 5 of them for £10, and or maybe even less than that, and they generally don't last very good. They're dirty work brushes really. They do what they say in the tin. Now, the main difference between these ones and the good ones is the amount of hair that's in them really. This one you can see I can flatten the hair really quite easily on that, and that one I just can't flatten it. It's chock full of hair, that one. I don't know what kind of brush this was. I actually don't know how much it cost, but you can tell the difference. It's much softer, it's more like real hair, where this one's more like plastic bristles. You wouldn't want to use this one on your paintwork or anything like that, really. Whereas with these ones, you can really use these on the paintwork, round about the plastic door trims and things like that. They won't scratch your paint. Now, one thing worth noting with these is you can actually buy brushes in your local hardware store as well, paint brushes, and they do just as good a job. If you get a good paintbrush, in fact, quality paintbrush, it's got to be as good as any detailing brush out there. In fact, one of my favourite brushes is actually just this. It's a paintbrush, it's a sash, it's what's called a sash brush. It's got long bristles, it's good quality. The paint brushes differ in the detailing brushes as the detailing brushes have got the plastic collar on them, and the reason of that is the metal one would scratch plastics. So all you do is you get your sash brush and you put a little bit of tape around it to stop it scratching, and there you go, voila, you've got a detailing brush. And the good thing about these is paint brushes, sort of quality paint brushes, aren't that expensive, and the thing is they don't tend to lose hair anywhere near as easily as the detailing brushes, because they're just better quality really. I mean, if you lose hair in your sort of paint when you're painting, it's a nightmare. If you're glossing a door or something like that and you get loads of hairs in it, it's just a right pain. You have to do it again, rub it down, do it again. If you lose a bit of hair when you're doing your dashboard or whatever, you just wipe it away or vac it up. It's not that big a deal. Paintbrushes, ideal. I mean, these ones here, they look nice if you're putting them on the wall and stuff like that, and people coming in, and sure, it looks very professional and stuff like that. But as a job, you'll do just as good a job with that as you would with that. It's not going to make any difference. It's not going to make your finish quality any better. But there is places like this. There's places you want hair, and there's places you don't want hair. You definitely don't want hair in your paint. If you're getting a wee bit of hair on your carpet in your car, it's not going to be the end of the world, is it? So it's up to you really. You can use the cheap ones if you want. They'll serve a purpose, you'll get some cars out of them. But if you're doing it every day, if you're doing a lot of valeting, get yourself some good ones, or some paint brushes, ideal. Just get some good quality paint brushes. What's next? Mixing my dirty work brushes up. Okay, not so much a brush as a sort of, well, it's called a lily brush. It's not so much a brush. It's for picking out dog hairs really, and this is another thing, a dog hair block. Dog hair blocks are exactly that. There's a block that's got knobbles on it. It's designed to take dog hairs out of fabric. The dog hairs stick into fabric. They're a bit of a pain in the butt to get out. So you literally just, if you've got a bit of fabric with a lot of hair in it, and you just drag this across, they're really, really good. The lily brush, same idea really. It's got this sort of, I don't know what kind of rubber it is, it's really good though. And you literally drag the lily brush across and it'll pull all it'll pull dog hair out. The good thing about the lily brush is it's got these sort of angles on it, so you can get right into the edges and things. It's a lot better at getting into little sort of tight areas. The better thing about this is if you're doing a bigger area, it's just got more surface contact on each side. So if you're doing a big area like a boot carpet or in your trunk or whatever you want to call it, use one of these block. If I was to pick, if I could only have one and I was going to pick one, it would have to be the lily brush. Every valeter should have one of these in his toolbox. It's just a fantastic tool. They're a wee bit expensive at £10 or £12 for what it is, but it's well worth it. And so long as you don't lose it, you'll never need to buy another one, because they never wear out. Last but not least, we've got sort of general purpose scrubbing brushes. Now these are the type of brushes that you just see in your sort of supermarket or any sort of store really that does general goods. B&M Bargains being one here in the UK. I think this one actually, I think this is for Asda or something like that. This one here, I don't know where I got that one. Seems to be a bit better quality, that one. A bit softer. But just a general purpose brush. They're about, if you pay any more than £3 for one of these brushes, then you're a fool, right? The only thing is when I say, and this happens with expensive ones as well, when you get them and they're new, the plastic bristles, they're cut from the factory and it's quite an aggressive cut, so they do tend to have, the bristles tend to be quite sharp, so they can catch on sort of soft fabrics. You can feel it when they're new as well. If you drag them up and down your arm, they'll leave scratch marks on your skin. The easy way to solve that is get a bit of 240 grit sandpaper or 300 grit sandpaper or whatever, and just rub the brush up and down it for a minute, and it'll smooth, it'll round the edges, the edge of the bristles off, and it'll make them far kinder to your fabrics. So that's all I've really got to say on that one. Oh, paint brushes actually, another brush we use. If you're doing stone chip touch-ups and things like that, get some quality artist brushes. Don't use the brushes that you get with the paint thing, because it tends to be, you'd be better just using a yard brush. They're absolutely rubbish. Always use, if you're doing stone chip touch-ups or touching in scratches and things like that, get some proper artist brushes, because it just makes your life so much easier and it makes your job look a lot better. Your customer will appreciate it. Anyway, guys and girls, that's it for that wee video. We do have another video, a car coming up. We've bought another dirty car the other day, so that'll be coming up soon. And we've still got to repair the rear bumper on the Honda Jazz, so we'll get that done, then we can sell it. Apart from that, I don't know if you like this sort of thing. If you do like this sort of thing, let me know in the comments, or if you've got any particular area you might want me to do like a wee talk on or a wee video on, let me know right in the comments below. Or you might just hate this full idea. In that case, just say, do one guys, get back to your normal stuff. Okie doke. Thanks very much for tuning in anyway, guys and girls, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye. Stay safe.